Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. Well, the debate is on, and it's a good old-fashioned debate. Which player will win the American League Most Valuable Player Award? Will it be Cal Raleigh, the catcher for the Seattle Mariners, or Aaron Judge, the outfielder DH for the New York Yankees? And I mean, both sides are vociferous in their arguments, which makes for a good old-fashioned debate. We're talking about numbers. We're talking about a player's value to a team, all of that. Let's start with the numbers. As a matter of fact, you can have fun with those numbers, beginning with Cal Raleigh, who has set a record with 60 home runs, and there's still 3 games remaining in the regular season as I put this together. This is the Friday before the Friday night games these teams will play, entering the final weekend of the regular season. Raleigh has helped his team win the American League Western Division title. The Yankees right now are tied with Toronto for first place in the American League East with 3 games remaining. Toronto wins the tiebreaker if the teams end up with identical records, but we'll see what happens over the remaining 3 games. But that said, with 3 games left, let's take a look at the numbers. You see, for example, Raleigh has a .247 batting average, 60 home runs, 125 runs batted in. Judge, more than likely, is going to be the American League batting champion, .330 average, 51 homers, 109 runs batted in. Then, of course, you start looking at the OPS, and the supporters of Judge and the Yankees broadcasters obviously are among those pushing Judge's case. They point to his OPS of 1.140. Raleigh has an OPS of .954. Now, one of the reasons Judge has a higher OPS is he walks more. You take a look at the number of walks he has, 123 to Raleigh's 96 walks. Judge has been walked intentionally 36 times. Raleigh has been walked intentionally 17 times. Stolen bases, Judge has 12, Raleigh has 14. But to me, it goes beyond that. And Judge is the captain of the New York Yankees. He's won the Most Valuable Player award, although that should not factor into the debate this time around. And I'm seeing that on social media from a lot of the Yankees fans that, Judge has proved himself. He's won the MVP before. That has nothing to do with it. What Judge has done in the past means zip. Nothing. We're talking about this season. And I tell you right now, if I had a vote, and I don't, Cal Raleigh would get my vote as the American League Most Valuable Player over Aaron Judge. Why? Well, first of all, this is not to diminish Judge. He brings so much to the table, and he's obviously one of the best, if not the best player in all of Major League Baseball, although Shohei Ohtani would have something to say about that. But let that go. This year, Cal Raleigh arguably has been more valuable to his team than Judge has to the Yankees. And that's not to say that Judge has not been valuable to the Yankees. He's been very valuable. We know that. If you follow baseball, you know what Judge has brought to the table, playing, by the way, injured. But to me, a catcher is the quarterback of his team. Everything runs through the catcher. I've had catchers tell me this. One of the reasons they like being catchers is the game flows through them. When you play baseball, day in, day out, the wear and tear on your body is enormous, regardless of the position, whether you're Aaron Judge or whether you're Cal Raleigh. But the wear and tear on a catcher's body is brutal. I've seen it. I had Gary Allenson tell me once that it got to September in a season and his chest was so sore he could not hold his baby next to his chest. That's how sore it was. That's how difficult being a catcher is. And Raleigh's caught, what? What did we say for games for Raleigh? 128 games he has caught. The wear and tear. Now you look at the earned run average of the Seattle Mariners pitching staff. One of the reasons, by the way, they've won the division. They're 5th in the American League with a 3.84 ERA. I've got to think that Cal Raleigh has something to do with it. The mental strain on all of these players, whether you're Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, is enormous, in addition to the physical strain. But from a catcher's perspective, and Cal Raleigh's had to do it 128 times, he's got to sit down and go over with the starting pitcher and his pitching coach, and sometimes the manager, name whoever else is going to be in on those meetings, how you're going to pitch to each batter for that day's game. So just the mental preparation the mental preparation that a catcher has to go through is different than a DH or an outfielder. There's no two ways about it. And for Cal Raleigh to somehow maintain that mental state and that physical state to play, as we mentioned, 156 games, 128 as a catcher, and then hit 60 home runs on top of it and knock in 125 runs and have an OPS near 1,000, I think is phenomenal. Like I said, I don't have a vote, but if I did, I would give the vote to Cal Raleigh as the American League MVP over Aaron Judge. What say you? That's going to do it for Dan on Sports. As always, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and see you later.